Okay. Morning. We're on 53A, 53A, 3, towards the top of the page. Morning, Ariel. Who's here? Great. Welcome to town. Okay. Say hello to Mark Ashby, Ralph Patesh. Everybody's on?
Morning, Rabbi.
Morning. Welcome back, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on Nun Gimel Amanal, 53A, 53A, 3. One second. Okay. The Mishnah stated that there were 15 steps going down from one courtyard in the by the Beit HaMikdash to the next courtyard, and the question was, 15, the number of steps. You could make it 12 steps, you can make it 17 steps. They understood that the number 15 was not just an arbitrary amount of steps. So they wanted to know these 15 steps, what was it which correspond, the Mishnah says the 15 steps correspond to the 15 Shir HaMalot. There are 15 in the, we say Shir HaMalot, Sinai, El Harim, Shir HaMalot, Makim, Korasich Hashem. There's 15 of those Shir HaMalot. And the question is, why was there these 15 steps? The Gemara wants to say, why, or these 15 Shir HaMalot, right? We're saying the following. What came first? What came second? First, David HaMelech said 15 songs. These 15 songs of Shir HaMalot. Subsequently, when they built the Beit HaMikdash, they built the 15 steps corresponding to the 15 Shir HaMalot that King David said. And the Gemara said, the Mishnah stated that the Leviim would stand on these 15 steps during the Simchat Beit HaShoeva. During the Simchat Beit HaShoeva celebration, where they, the night before they went to draw the water, they would have this whole musical extravaganza where they would have all these instruments, and they would have the great pious people. Good morning, Simon. Pious people and people of great action would be dancing, leading the dancing with they would have dancing with torches, and it seems like they were the ones that would everybody wasn't dancing, just certain people were dancing. There were spectators. They created a whole balcony for the women to stand the balcony, because there was issues of men and women too much, so they were getting too close. So they created a balcony for the women to stay, to view this great event, the juggling of torches. There was a lot of great things happening in this event, and they were standing. And when they were playing the instruments for this event, they were on. Where was the band set up? They were set up on these 15 steps that went down from one courtyard to enter the other courtyard. And these 15 steps corresponded to the Shir HaMalot, to the 15 special songs of Shir HaMalot that David HaMelech said. So that's what the Mishnah stated. Now with that backdrop comes our Gemara, and our Gemara says, Amalei Rav Chizda Lahud Rabbana, 53a, 3, Simon, on the bottom of the page, first column. Rav Chizda said to one of the rabbis, the Have Komisada Gadata Kameh. One of these rabbis was an expert in Agadah. What's Agadah? The Agadah is like the stories of the Gemara. English, they might have translated the legends of the Talmud, right? What do you say? Right. A lot of stories that happen in the Gemara. There's a sefer called the Ein Yaakov, which was translated, I think, by Art School into English. where they took all the stories of the Gemara and they compiled it in certain books. Only the focus of these books, these Sfarim, are only on the stories of the Talmud. And they're very fascinating. And if you want to learn it, it's beautiful with commentary. But like David Cohen said, in one of Mr. Haber, it has a lot of allegory. It has an allegory, so you need commentary to explain, obviously. So Rav Chizda said to one of the rabbis, and this rabbi would say over Agadata, would say over these type of Gemaras, stories of the Talmud, or things that are not pertaining to halakhat issues. He would tell over to in front of this rabbi. He would organize his teachings of Agadah, and he would say it over. This was his area of expertise. Certain rabbis had certain expertise in halakha. Certain rabbis had certain expertise in this area of Jewish education. And this rabbi was saying over these Agadah, these stories of the Talmud, to Rav Chizda. So Rav Chizda said to him, Amalei. Rav Chizda said to him, Shemi alach hani chamesh yasei mal kenegem yamim David. David said 15 Shir HaMalot, right? Why did David say 15? Do you have any background why David said these 15? What was the reason, impetus that David said 15 Shir HaMalot, specifically the number 15? And what was the background of these unique Shir HaMalot of David? Amalei. So this rabbi said, Hachi Ama Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said the following idea on this matter. He said, Bishar Shakara David Shitin. When David was starting to excavate the pits underneath the Mizbeach, meaning David HaMelech was creating the foundation for the Beit HaMikdash. He didn't build the Beit HaMikdash, and he was digging the pits. He was digging a hole in the ground to create the area that when they would build the Mizbeach, the altar on top of that hole, the water that would be poured on the Mizbeach during the holiday of Sukkot, and the wine, the daily pouring of the wine on the Mizbeach would go into that pit that's under the ground. So he wanted to know that when David was digging those shitin. Now we said in the Gemara earlier, good morning, Morris, morning. We said in the Gemara earlier that there's an opinion that says that this hole in the ground was there from Sheshit to Mei Bereshit, was already there from when God created the world. Part of His creation of the world was it made a hole in the ground that went all the way down to the depths. That was there that was needed when they'll build the Beit HaMikdash, for the water and the wine should come into that hole. So now the obvious question is, so why is David digging there if it's already dug? God made it. So Rashi says two ideas. One thing Rashi says, either this opinion holds that it was not, that there was, disagrees with that idea that it was there from all the way from Sheshit Mei Bereshit. Disagrees that it was there from the time of creation. Or Rashi suggests, even if it was there, but with time, it got filled up with rocks and pebbles, dirt, and therefore David needed to dig that hole. So when David was digging the shitin that he was going to use for the Beit HaMikdash, what happened was kafu tehoma. The waters came up. When David dug, so the waters came up, and the waters came. He dug deep, and something happened that the waters came up. And there is an opinion that says that there was a piece of pottery, earthenware, that was written on it that it was here from the Sheshit Mei Bereshit. That this piece of pottery was here from the Sheshit Mei Bereshit, and David removed that piece of pottery, and then when they removed the piece of pottery, it was like the plug that unplugged the waters, and all the waters came up. And what was happening? It was a great danger. The waters are coming up. Maybe the world will be drowned. They'll drown. There'll be the tremendous flood that could go ahead and destroy the world. Ubai lemishpita alma, and it was starting to drown the world, so to speak. That the world was getting morning, Elio. The world was getting water was going all the way up, and it threatened to flood the whole world. So what happened? Amar David. So what did David do? He said Chamesh Esrim Milo. He said these 15 Shira Malot, and the merit of these Shira Malot will redome. The water went down. So you have the water came up. So this opinion says that the water came up. David, when he was digging, he removed a piece of, let's say, earthenware, and that was like the stopper. The water came up, and now David HaMelech goes ahead and he sings the says Shir Malot, and they 15 Shir Malot, and that brought the water all the way down. So the Gemara says, so Rav Chizda, say it again? Yeah. Yeah, if you want, but it could be someone's phone. If you want to mute your phone, somebody, because it looks like there's a little sound, extra sound. So the Gemara says, Ihachi, if that's the case, Chamesh Esrei Malot, why did David say 15 Malot? Mala is like Aliyah, to go up. He should have said 15 Psalms of Tehillim. It should have said that the water should go down. It should not have been called Shir HaMalot. It should be called Shir HaYordot, song of going down. That he wants the water to go down. He doesn't want the water to go up. So why is it Shir HaMalot? It should be Shir HaYordot. So that's what that was the question of Chizda questioned this idea, that this opinion of this rabbi. So Amalei, the Rav Chizda said to this rabbi who was organizing his Agadah in front of Rav Chizda, he says, you know what? You know, Hoyovat Kata Milta, you mentioned this idea about the Shitin, about David HaMelech, about the waters. Now you're reminding me about what I heard about this. Now, I remembered this is the story, not the way you said it. This is the story the way it was. Here it goes. David Shitin. When David dug this hole underground for the water and the wine to come into eventually, yes, the depths, the water started coming up, and sometimes and it hit something, and boom, the water. I know one of the guys in Brooklyn, I think Rabbi Mansour problem. I think you hit something and with the water or something. So, and it wanted to flood the world. Amar David. David said, "Mi ika diyada isharin lemichtav shem." Is there anybody who knows? Are you allowed to write the name of Hashem on a piece of earthenware and put the name of Hashem into the waters that are coming up, and that will save the world? But the issue is, if I write the name of God on this piece of earthenware, it's going to get erased. So, is there anybody who knows if I'm allowed to use that option? What did you say, Simon? Yeah. If you want to mute your phone, because I think there's some. By the way, you could put your phone off if you want, Marco. I think if you want. I don't think your phone is not. If you want, I'm not saying that's making any noise. You know what I'm saying? So do you know if you're allowed to go ahead and write the name of Hashem on this parchment and put it in the waters? The power of writing Hashem's name will go ahead and maybe we'll save the world, because you put Hashem's name, the power of that, and that will go ahead. And now you're allowed to do that. Now, there's an obvious question on that. Isn't it, if it's a question of pikuach nefesh, if it's a question of saving the world, isn't it obvious now, you're allowed to violate, to save somebody's life. There are only a few things that you can't do. You can't worship idols. You can't, certain things. You can't kill someone to save save your life. You can't. But to save your life, to violate this mitzvah of writing Hashem's name, erasing Hashem's name, why shouldn't the person be able to do that? That's one of the questions they ask. What is David HaMelech's question? It could be, I would like to suggest an approach. David HaMelech wants to know, is this the idea to do? Or maybe there's some other idea. Maybe I'm not allowed to do this because maybe there's something else I have to figure out. Well, no. He wants to know to save the whole world. Could I write Hashem's name? And what's going to happen is I'll put it on this pottery, and it's going to get erased. You put it into the waters, and the idea was that if you go down into the waters and hit the bottom and hit that spot, and then the water will stop coming out from that spot. Could I go ahead and write Hashem's names? Perhaps David HaMelech was his question was, is this the way to go? Maybe I got to figure out a different answer and a better answer, but could that be his concern? But then we'll see what the answer is. Might not fit so well. Some want to say that writing Hashem's name in the water's coming up from the hole and it's threatening to flood the world. So now the question is, can I do that? So when I saw one answer that I saw is David HaMelech wants to know, something, you're allowed to go ahead and if something's a chil Hashem, there's an opinion that says if you're doing something that's going to be a chil Hashem, by erasing Hashem's name might be a desecration of Hashem's name. Maybe that's not allowed in honor to save your life. So there's a lot of discussion in the commentaries. What would be the concern? Rashi seems to indicate really David knew the answer to the question. David knew that of course I could go ahead and write Hashem's name and erase Hashem's name, but he had a Rebbe nearby, Achitofel, and he didn't want to go ahead and paskin give a law in front of his rabbi. Like it's like disrespectful that one rabbi, a younger rabbi, or someone who's not, you in front of your rabbi, you're going to go ahead and take and say a ruling. So therefore, he was asking for somebody or some other rabbi to take. He did not want to go ahead and say the ruling. That's how Rashi sounds like. That really he knew the answer, and he'll show, and we'll see where he shows his answer from. Good morning. So he says, does anybody know if you can write Hashem's name? Achaspa on it. Now we're turning the page on a piece of clay, because the clay, if you put on the clay, it will go all the way down, and then it would hopefully rest on the hole. He opened up. He has to plug that hole, and he wants to go ahead and put a right on the earthenware, and that will go down and plug the hole. So the Gemara v'nashdei b'tehoma, and we'll throw this earthenware with the name of Hashem, the holy name of Hashem written on it, into the depths. Umanach, and it will go down, and as a result of that, the water will go ahead and become calm again and go down. Leka de kamale midi. Nobody gave an answer to David HaMelech. And what happened? Amar David. David said, Kol de yada lemeima ve'eno omer. Anybody who knows an answer to this question and doesn't want to say it, yechanot begrono. They should go ahead and they should be strangled by their throat. What does that mean? If you're able, that's like mida keneged mida, choke by the throat. If a person's able to say something with his mouth and he doesn't say with the mouth that could say something should be punished. Now, so that David is. So why is David saying that? So it sounds like David knows there are people that might know the answer to the question, but maybe they feel uncomfortable saying something in front of David HaMelech. So he says, some want to say that the Achitofel, who was David's rabbi, had gone sour. So it wasn't such a, and he had reasons why he didn't want to say anything. And Achitofel didn't want to say anything. One opinion said maybe he was hoping that David would die and he would take over. But now when David says anybody who doesn't say anything is going to get killed, the curse would come to him, that now Achitophel was willing to say. So what did Achitophel say? To make peace between a husband and a wife. Amra Torah, what does the Torah say about peace between a husband and a wife? Hashem takes his name. What happened when a lady violated the warning? A husband says, Sotah. A husband says to his wife, I don't want you to be alone with that man. Now, really, you don't need the husband to tell his wife not to be alone. The Torah, there's a law called Yichud. You can't be alone with a married woman. But you can't be alone even with a non-married woman. But on a Torah level, you can't be alone. A married woman, can't be alone with another man. But if the husband warns her, don't be alone with the other man. And if she goes and she's alone with another man enough time that they could have sinned, but we don't know what happened. So there's a whole process that we learned about. They go to the Kohen, and she drinks certain water, and there's certain psukim from the Torah that are written that if you went in and you went with this other man, God will curse you, God will kill you. You'll be a curse for the Jewish people, and you take this parchment where you wrote psukim from the Torah. They included the name of Hashem on this parchment, and it gets erased in the water. And Hashem does that because as a result of her drinking the water, if nothing happens to her, if she doesn't blow up, that means she's innocent, and therefore she could go back to her husband. Until she drinks the water, once she violated the warning in front of witnesses, she's forbidden to her husband. So therefore, to make peace, to bring back the wife to the husband, God is willing to erase his name. So now, first of all, God had many ways he could have done the story of Sotah. He didn't need to go ahead and write his name in psukim and put it into the water. He could have told them, write psukim without his name on it, without God's name on it. And obviously, God is creating a lesson and showing them how important it is to have Shalom Bayit. Because I wanted to say, how is it that a married woman, violates the warning of the husband and spends enough time with another man? Obviously, she doesn't have Shalom Bayit. That a woman who has a harmony house is not looking for attention somewhere else. The only reason why she's looking for attention somewhere else is not getting it in her house. So, perhaps that's the problem. The problem why this happened is because there's no Shalom Bayit. It's hard to imagine when people have beautiful harmony house that a lady's going somewhere else. So therefore, Hashem, the lesson to make sure this will never happen is to give a lesson in Shalom Bayit. And therefore, they'll never have this problem again. And therefore, Hashem gives the lesson. What's Hashem's lesson? I'm willing to erase my name in order to create peace between husband and wife. What are you willing to do to create peace in your house? Are you willing to erase your name? Are you willing to give up some your honor, your kavod, or not? That is, I think, a big lesson in the Sotah story. That's the Shalom Bayit lesson that they're supposed to take out of the story of Sotah. And so now, you like the idea? That's the idea of that's the lesson that they're supposed to learn from the story of Sotah. And so now back in the Gemara. To make peace, but remember, so everyone has to remember, it's a matter of honor. If God doesn't worry about his honor, we shouldn't worry about our honor. And it's more important to have peace in the house than worry about our honor. So Torah, to make peace between a husband and wife. The Torah says, Shmi, my name, that's written with holiness. Nevertheless, God is willing to erase his name in the water, because they put that parchment in the water, and the name gets dissolved in the morning. So shalom, to make peace for the whole world, where the whole world is in danger of being flooded. Alachat kama v'kama. How much more so God would allow you to erase his name? So Amalei, so therefore that was the Kavachoma that Achitophel said. That was what he said. And Amalei, he said to David HaMelech, he says, Shari, you're allowed to go ahead and write the name of Hashem on this earthenware and throw it down into the water, and hopefully in that merit, I mean, it sounds like David was pretty confident that it would be successful if he would be allowed to do it. So Kasuv Shema Chaspa. So David HaMelech wrote the name of God on this clay, on this pottery, V'shadil Toma, and he threw it down into morning, and he threw it down into the depths of the water that was coming up. V'nachi Toma, Shisa Alfe Gamide, and it was very successful. And the depths, all the water that had come up, it went down 16,000 amot, which could be perhaps maybe 32,000, maybe 16,000. You times it by, it could be like between like 24 and 32,000 feet or something like that. It went down a tremendous amount. A tremendous amount of the water went down 16,000 amot. Some say it's 32,000 feet. Kichazi de nachituva, when David saw that the water went all the way down, so the water is so deep. So now, if you have ground and you have water, so if you have water, the closer you have water to the ground, the moisture from the water, it helps the ground, and therefore the ground will be moist, and therefore beautiful things will grow. That, you have the moisture, just like the Nile River would overflow, and that water would. So if you have moistness in the ground, it's very good. So David HaMelech said, "Oma kamad midli." The more that the water is higher up, is tfei mirtav alma. That's better for the world to moisten the ground. And therefore, as a result of that, the fruit will have better fruits. Things will grow much faster, won't be so dry. So Amar said, now that's where David HaMelech said the 15 Shir HaMalot, because it had gone down 16,000 amot. He wanted to bring it up 15,000 amot. He wanted the waters not to be 16,000 amot under the ground. He wanted it to be. He wanted a 15,000. He wanted to bring it down 15,000 amot, and therefore there'll be 1,000 of ground. So he says, "He's Omar Chamesh Esrei." He said 15. He said 15 Shir HaMalot, and Va'aske and Shir HaMalot means song of ascents, bringing up, because he brought up the waters 15,000 amot. And he brought it up 15,000 amot, and the ukme ba'alfei garmidei. So the water became 1,000 amot underground, which is about close to 18 to 2,000 feet underground would be the water. It's still pretty low, but also you don't want it too high. Obviously, maybe it's. But it's underground. So that was the story. That's why the Shir HaMalot. So when we say Shir HaMalot, we should think about that story. Maybe we should think about the whole Shir HaMalot, about how it was only because of the Kavachomer of Shalom Bayit, of making Shalom, that he was allowed to go ahead and put Hashem's name, to go ahead and get the water to go down, but then he wanted to bring it up. And also to think about the fact Shir HaMalot is David's concern for the parnasah, for the food of the world. And therefore, because he was concerned for the food of the world, that things should grow very well, people should have what to eat very easily, he went ahead and he said the Shir HaMalot, that was David's intention, so there should be more moist for the produce. Ama Ula, so Ula says, Shma Mina, so we see from here, Sumcha da'ara alfei gamidei. The thickness of the ground until the depths is 1,000 amot. That the ground itself will be 1,000 amot, and then will come the water. So the Gemara says, V'chazina de karina purta v'nafkimaya. They see in Bavel, in the mountains of Bavel, they dig a small amount, and it's not that you have to go 1,000 amot, 2,000, 1,800 to 2,000 feet or whatever underground in order to go ahead and get water. You can have the water without digging 1,000 amot, right? Without digging 2,000 feet. So if you're telling me that the ground itself, until you get the water, you have 1,000 amot. But we see we're digging here in Bavel, in Babylon, in the mountains of Babylon, and it's not 1,000 amot.
Yeah.
We can hit the water with 4,000 amot. So the Gemara says that water that you're hitting is not the water that's coming from underneath. That water that in the mountains of Babylon and Bavel, when you're digging and there's water that you're hitting, that moistness is not coming from the depths. Rather, it's coming from the Euphrates River, that some of the water goes up from over there. As Omar Abishasha, Hahu Misuma de Pras. That's coming from the Euphrates. And they explain over here, as the source of, if you look at note number 6, where it says that the source of the Euphrates is at a high elevation, the water pressure allows its underground stuff, tributaries, to flow upward to an almost equal height. And this is so it's something that has to do with not the water that's underground. This is from an above ground water, an ocean, like a river, like the Euphrates River, which is because of that river. That's why that you're hitting the water, but it's not the water from underneath. Okay. The Gemara says, Oma Ula. Now, if you want to, Ralph, if you want to mute your thing. V'amdu Kohanim. Maybe you want to help me out? Amdu Kohanim v'Shar Elyon. The Kohanim went from Shar Elyon she'yodu. So what did the Mishnah say? The Mishnah said that the Kohanim, when they went down the 15 steps, they would blow the trumpets in honor of the water drawing ceremony that they were going to be doing. So they had before they would go to get the water, it says that they would go down, they would blow the trumpets. It says back on the Mishnah, they blew the trumpets on the top of the steps of these 15 steps. And then it says they also, when they reached the 10th step, and what was the reason why they blew the trumpets as a sign that we got to go, time to go to fill up the water, for that we're going to be pouring on the Mizbeah. And when they reached the 10th step, they blew again. What did they blow? Tekiah, true tekiah, just like we do on Rosh Hashanah. We blow tekiah, true tekiah. They blew a tekiah, true tekiah. And when they reached the 10th step, so the question is, what does it mean when they reached the 10th step? Does it mean they went down 5 steps, and that's called the 10th step? Or when the 10th step means when they went 10 steps down? It's not clear in the language of the Mishnah, right? The Mishnah says, Kishehagia, the Mishnah states when they reached Lamala Asir, the 10th step, so that's what the Gemara asked the question. Boy Rabbi Yirmiyah, you hear the question mark? Right. Boy Rabbi Yirmiyah, Lamaila Asirit, the 10th step, the Nachit Chamish, you went down 5 steps. B'koya Sarah, and now you're on the 10th step. Is that called 10th step? Ol Dilma, 10th step from the bottom. Ol Denachat Asara, or is it that you went down 10 steps and you're on the 5th step from the bottom? B'koya Chamisha. The Gemara says Teku. The Gemara says the Gemara did not answer the question. We're going to have to see. Teku is an acronym for Tishbi, which means Eliyo HaTishbi, Eliyo Yitureit will answer the questions of Vabayis. He was going to answer all the questions that we have. We look forward to Mashiach Eliyo Hanavi coming. He's coming today, I think, for a Brit. Is there a Brit going on today? Maybe we've got to speak to him about that. Want to wish everyone what was and we'll look the Beit HaMikdash that we rebuilt, and we'll see exactly which step they did. They blew those. They blew. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody. What a beautiful crowd we have here today. Thank you, Elena. Thank you for coming. You made the move.